Hey guys, Punisher88 here, coming to you with the weekend review. So, today I'm going to be reviewing two comics, both from the same series, but this time around, sorry guys, okay, that was just a message, anyway. So this time around, I decided to stray away from the Marvel DC stuff. I decided to go with another company. So, the two comics I'm going to be reviewing are C.O.W.L #2 and C.O.W.L #3 from Image Comics. Who are amazing. They got a lot of good stuff. All the Image, IDW, Dynamite, Omni Press, whatever it's called, Boom Studios, Dark Horse. It's not just Marvel and DC anymore, folks. So, anyway, a little rundown of C.O.W.L. For starters, the actual name itself, C.O.W.L, is abbreviated for Chicago Organized Workers League, and they are considered to be the world's first superhero labor union. And the story itself takes place in 1962, and back in the day for them, so say around in the 40s, around World War II and that, they were described as a beacon of hope against an epidemic of organized crime. So they were like the top dogs. They were like what the Avengers are to Marvel, or what the Justice League is to DC. You know, they were the big guys, and they went against a brotherhood of supervillains, and they took them on and wiped them out, or so they thought. So anyway, from that thought, you fast forward to now, or technically back to 1962, and they're faced with a new problem. And they're not faced with a supervillain now. Now they're facing the scrutiny from the Chicago public. And while going through that, the members of C.O.W.L, basically now after the war and everything, a lot of them took up separate jobs. Like the leader of C.O.W.L, his name's Jeffrey Warner, or back in the day he was known as the Grey Raven. Sorry about that. He was known as the Grey Raven, and he was C.O.W.L's leader, or he's still considered C.O.W.L's leader. Just he doesn't really consider it right now because he has other stuff on his plate. He's got a desk job doing something or whatever, and yeah. So while being scrutinized by the public, C.O.W.L now is trying to, let me backtrack a bit. From when I was saying about they thought that they beat all the supervillains, well, you fast forward to now, and we find out that, hold on. Mouth was a little dry. Needed some Coke Zero. Anyway, you find out now that there still is a member of that brotherhood of supervillains, and he's running amok doing his thing. And in the C.O.W.L stories, they have what are called superpowers, which are like the equivalent to, like in the X-Men comics, or they would just call them mutants. Anyway, in here they're called superpowers. And this remaining member of the Brotherhood is recruiting some of these superpowers to be like his henchmen, his hired muscle. So it draws the attention of C.O.W.L. So back to them being scrutinized by the Chicago public, C.O.W.L's taken it on themselves to try and go after this guy, and they want to clear their name, and they want to prove to the world that they could still do it. They could still fight all the villains, and so they still got it. And while that part of the story is going on, there's another sub issue going on in the story. You have pretty much espionage going on from inside C.O.W.L itself, and that's where there's another character. His name is John Pierce. He's a friend of C.O.W.L, the group, and he's a private investigator. And going back to book 1, he takes it upon himself to find out about who's plotting against C.O.W.L and everything. We don't know who it is yet. I can't wait to find out who it is. But excuse me. So he's doing his research thing in that. So anyway, book 1 basically, like I said, revolves around Jeffrey Warner, the Grey Raven, and it's where you first meet John Pierce, and you find out about the whole espionage thing. So now we get to book 2, and we meet 2 more new characters. One is a member of C.O.W.L, and his name's Carl Samowski. I don't know how to pronounce his name properly. Anyway, his alter ego, his name was Eclipse, and the other character we're introduced to is Grant Marlowe, who is Carl's buddy, but he's actually not a member of C.O.W.L. He's just he's basically a cop. And actually, towards the end of the book, you meet a third member of C.O.W.L, who is Tom Hayden, who goes by the name of Arclight. But you only see him for a little bit in this story. So, anyway. So we're introduced to Carl and Grant, and they're doing their thing. Grant, right off the bat, you see his head's not really in the right place because he's been having some trouble with his kid, and blah, blah, blah. So, they're going along. Anyway, they get a call on their scanner that there's been a disturbance. This is where you find out about one of those superpower guys. And so he's, beating some people up. They go to Grant and Carl go to check it out. Carl decides to say, we should get some backup. But Grant, again, his head not being in the right place, decides to just go after him. And in doing this, he basically gets his ass handed to him. He gets beaten up, and he catches the superpower guy, but he gets beaten up in the process pretty bad. So, anyway, the story, the main part revolves around that. And then you get a flashback to the 40s when, C.O.W.L was like the gung-ho defenders of justice type of deal, They sort of made it look campy, but I liked it. I thought it was cool. And then there's a scene in here where like I said, you meet Arclight, who's the third member of C.O.W.L we're introduced to, and he's actually visited by John Pierce, and it's in this scene where you kind of get the idea of where they're going with the story. It's pretty much, you get the idea of the whole they're trying to bring the band back together type of deal. And so as they're doing that, um, uh, John Pierce goes to see Arclight, or Tom Hayden, and he presents him with this classified file about stuff he dug up. Apparently Cal has all these had these plans for weapons and you name it. Anyway, it's all classified stuff. So John is basically trying, I think, to warn certain members of C.O.W.L what's going on. So he goes to Arclight first, and that's pretty much the end of the book. And I think I forgot to mention what I really like that they're doing with this story, or each book. On the cover, it's presented as, issue 1, 2, 3, blah, blah, blah. But in the book itself, they're presenting it as chapters. And another thing I like is each book plays out kind of like a mini movie, because when you start reading it, right from the first page, there's no like a title of the story, name of the story, whatever. Basically, on the inside cover, you get a little rundown from the previous book of what's going on so far, and then boom, the story starts. What you find out as you start reading it is each book has an opening scene. Again, like I say, in a movie. I base it off the Marvel movies, or a lot of these superhero movies. They have that little opening scene, then there's the pause, and then boom, you get your title. That's how these books play out, which is really neat. You get your opening scene, the title, and then the story continues. And so far, all the books are like that, which is really neat. I think it's a nice touch to this type of story. And so yeah. So anyway, that was book 2. And then you move on to book 3. And in book 3, you're introduced to technically 2 more members of C.O.W.L, but through most of the story, actually, no, you see them in one scene. You get, there's a lady by the name of Catherine Mitchell, but her alter ego name is Radia, and she's telekinetic. She's basically C.O.W.L's version of Jean Grey, although I don't think she's as strong, and she doesn't have a phoenix possessing her. But anyway, and then there's another guy by the name of Reginald Davis. His alter ego name was Blaze, but like I said, you only see him in one scene of this book. So I'm waiting to see the follow-up. Probably, maybe it's in issue 4. I don't know. A follow-up of what his story is, or whatever, or a background, or Anyway, so in issue 3, the opening scene is where we're introduced to Radia, or Catherine, and she's with her, I'm presuming, boyfriend or whatever, and they're going to a baseball game. So it's kind of really like a slow-paced opening of the book. She meets some people. It's basically they go to the ball game, they meet someone they know, and they're talking, and all of a sudden there's some fans of hers. They come over for pictures, blah blah blah. So it's a pretty basic opening scene. Nothing. You're not really missing much on that. But then after the title and everything, you get sucked into a big board meeting, and Jeffrey's there, or the Gray Raven, and so they're going over this big proposal thing or whatever, they're dragging it out. We're finally at the end of the scene. You meet Blaze, and it's with this scene that you kind of get the idea that Jeffrey really, I think, wants to get the group back together, because they make this big proposal for all kinds of this like special material for suits and this healthcare stuff, and you could tell there's something there. Then the next page is actually a splash page, and when I first saw it, I was like, huh? But then as you turn the page and you read about it, you find out what's really going on. It's Radia, and she's doing like not a fashion shoot, but she's doing, like you got a photographer taking pictures of her and that, and then she meets with Jeffrey, and they're talking about, they're basically shooting the wind type of deal. And after that, she's in another scene, and she's talking with Eclipse, or Carl Samowski, and he's talking with her. He's filling her in on what happened with Grant, how he got beaten up, blah blah blah, and so they decide to take some action. I'm not going to tell you guys what kind of action they take, because that gives away a juicy part of the book. And for those of you who are interested now, hoping, want to get into it, well, I don't want to spill all the cool details, So, anyway, I'll leave you guys in suspense. Then you flash to John Pierce, the private eye, and he's still digging away at all this, classified information stuff to try and dig up whatever he can to help C.O.W.L. Well, you find him at C.O.W.L headquarters, and it's their it's like a divisions department, pretty much where they do all the cool gadgets and the suits and all that crap. So he's talking with this guy who kind of looks like a cross between, I don't know how to describe him. He's kind of like a Q type of character from James Bond. He's like the top guy. Anyway, John's talking with him about any, getting info on previous stuff that they designed, and where he could find info on it and everything. And the scientist guy pretty much tells him that it's pretty tough to find the stuff. It'd probably be very heavily guarded, blah, blah, blah. And then the scene ends. Then it goes on to the part I don't want to spill to you guys, so we'll just skip that. And then the very last scene is with John Pierce again. And I'm just going to leave it at, he finds the building where he can find all the previous records. I'm going to leave it at that, because then that's the end of the book, and it leads into, I'm supposing, the fourth book, obviously. So that was book 3. So, how are we doing on time? Okay, we're about to almost hit 20 minutes. I apologize that I make my videos so long, guys, but I really hate skipping on details. So, as you guys noticed by now, I love to go into detail and everything. Some of you guys might hate it. Some of you guys might like it. It's just how I am. Anyway, so, recommending these? Oh, hell yeah. 2 thumbs up. not just for the books themselves, the series in general. It's an awesome series. All the stuff I've read about it online, I've pretty much heard good things about it. I think maybe I've seen like one or two negative comments, but mostly it's all positive stuff. The books themselves, story, like the writing is awesome. The artwork is really cool. Like that splash page I was telling you about. I'll show you. Look at that. That cool or what, huh? Has kind of like a, I don't know, watercolor paint look to it, mixed with whatever. I don't know what they're doing nowadays for art, like artworks. I know it used to be just pencils, paint, and color, But anyway, so yeah, it has like a watercolor look to it, which is pretty cool. I mean, some stuff looks really cool when it's done like that. Some stuff looks really, but I like the artwork in these books. I like how when they're going through the scenes of the story, like if it's a very well, not let's say happy scene, but like very lighthearted, mellow scene, the colors are like really bright. Then if it's like a very serious scene, the colors change to like a grays and blacks and stuff, And then if it's like an intense scene, it's like bright red and everything. I like how each scene the colors change upon the mood, So that's really neat. And the price isn't that too bad. I mean, they're $3.50 an issue, and I think it's every 2 weeks they come out, so it's not too bad, Also, mind you, they are rated M. They are mature reads, because there is some, they use explicit language. I did see the F word a couple times, and also I can see why it's for mature readers, because also some of the panels in here, like in book 2, there is a panel where you first see Arclight, and it appears that he's in a gentleman's club. So yeah, no clothes. I'll leave that with you guys. You'll know what I'm talking about. So yeah, that's why it's got the rated M. What else can I say? Not much, really. I mean, I can't wait to read issue 4, and so on and so forth. This is another one of those series, like I say in my other videos, I'm with it till the end, So, yep. This series for me so far it's batting 1,000. So, yeah, and what else? That's about it for that. Also, like I said in my last video, this weekend is Montreal Comic-Con, so we'll be there Saturday and Sunday, and I'm going to be, checking out some panels, probably try and sneak in some little impromptu interviews maybe with some of the celebs. Like I said, I know the guys from Epic Mealtime are going to be there, so I might try and get a little video with them. As well as I found out that Hulk Hogan's going to be there now Saturday, so that's pretty cool. Also, I'm going to be doing some comic book hunting. I know mostly the comic book distributors at Comic-Con, usually their bargain bins is usually like older comics, but I might look for some newer stuff too. Well, you guys don't have to worry, because my Saturday and Sunday, whatever hauls I get, I'm going to be making videos of them. So you guys will get to see what I got. So, and Probably gonna be checking out Artist Alley. Maybe I could. Maybe I'll pick up a print or two. I know. What's his? Simon Beasley. Anyway, he's here this year, and to those of you who know his work, you know he did Lobo and everything. So maybe I can get a sketch from him. We'll see. If I do, you guys will see it. And so yeah, that's about it. To anyone who follows me or subscribes to me, if you guys are going to be at Montreal Comic Con, and if you notice me in the crowd, I will be wearing my standard hat, and I will be wearing a Punisher t-shirt. I'm not doing a cosplay or anything because I'm not good at making stuff when it comes to clothes. I never really tried. Sorry, I keep adjusting my hat. Never really tried, so I'll leave that to the professionals, you know. And but yeah, to anyone out there who subscribed to my channel, if you notice this face, say hi, whatever, you know. And yeah, so I'll leave it at that. And before I start rambling on, that brings us to the end of this video, and it brings us to the end of another weekend in review. And I'll see you guys on Thursday with a new current comic, and or probably sooner, as like I mentioned before, for the videos I'll be making. And till then, you guys know the drill. Like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys later. See ya.